What up, everybody? This is the MOBC, my own boxing community. And I want to talk about the Terence Crawford fight versus Israil Madrimov. First of all, shout out to Terence Crawford for moving up again, once again, to another weight class. Um, Boxing to the best of his ability against a awkward in kind of like a unorthodox, non-conventional fighter in Israil Madrimov. Um, Once again, wins a title in another weight class, four weight class champion, four different weight class champion, undisputed in two different weight classes. And at the age of 36, shout out to him by beating the younger man. Shout out to Israil Madrimov for one, competing at the high level that he competed in, with only having 10 professional fights, winning a title, I believe, in his 10th professional fight. Shout out to Charles D. Salute. Madrimov proved that he is a force to be reckoned with at 154. But at the same time, he did lose to someone who just moved up to 154 for his first time. And they call Madrimov the best at 154. I don't see that. You can't say you're the best at 154 and you haven't proved it. And then you're the best at 154 and you lose to a guy who just moved into the division at 54, is 36 years old, isn't at his best. We all know this. You're not at your best at 36 years old, especially in the fight game. So, with that being said, Madrimov, in my opinion, still did great in terms of making Terence Crawford fight a certain fight that we haven't seen him fight before. Okay? Now for the people out there, the European boxing fanboys is what I call them. Okay? So for those who don't know what a European boxing fanboy is, the European boxing fanboys are the ones who are the reverse. Basically, they're the reverse version of a certain group of people in the YTBC that only supports black fighters. And that's fine. You can support who you want to support based on ethnicity. If that's what you want to do, you can do it. Here at the MOBC, we don't care about your race, your ethnicity. We don't care about what your religion is. We don't care about what your sexual preference is, what gender you identify. We don't care about any of that. The only thing here in the MOBC that we care about is the two men fighting in the ring to prove who is the best. But there seems to be a plethora of European boxing fanboys who feel like Madrimov was robbed out of a victory versus Terence Crawford. Now, I look at fights way different than everyone else out there, okay? When I look at a fight, I go by the scoring criteria of boxing. Okay, people? I don't just go by punches landed. Right? There's still there's more to it in the sport of boxing. There's more to the sport of boxing than just punches landed. Okay, right? There's ring generalship. There's the fighter who's busier. There's the guy, there's a fighter who is dictating the pace of the fight. There's more to it than just simply punches landed. Because once again, and shout out to my brothers, 10 players, if you go by the scoring criteria and it is punches landed, then Munguia beat Canelo in the last fight. All right? If you go by punches landed, Triple G beat Canelo in the first and the second fight. If you go by punches landed, Lomachenko beat Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. So you guys got to be really careful with the words that you use when you say, well, it's punches landed, it's just punches landed. Because now that punches landed is reversed. Now it's not on a fighter like Triple G. Now it's not on a fighter like Lomachenko. All of a sudden, the punches landed, it doesn't work that way. Well, and it shouldn't. But Terence Crawford did land more punches. Terence Crawford did throw more body shots. Terence Crawford did throw more combinations. Guys, I understand that Madrimov was unorthodox. He did a lot of feinting. He had tons of feints. He was throwing a lot of feints, and it was throwing Crawford off in the very beginning, okay? And it really was. The issue that I have with feinting, okay? You can't feint 15 and 20 seconds and then throw one shot, two shots, and then do another feint, a series of feints, another 15, 20, and 30 seconds per round. It's only 3-minute rounds. Do you guys understand out there? It's 3 minutes per round. You can't spend 1 minute and 30 seconds just feinting. I'm not scoring a round just because you're feinting. And if you watch the fight again and you notice besides round 8 and 9, which I believe was clear rounds for Madrimov. Besides those rounds, after like the third round, and then and of course Crawford got busier in 10, 9, and 11. Crawford was keeping his composure and not reacting as much as he was early on because he realized he's only feinting and he's throwing one shot at a time, which was mostly the right hand, and the right hand was landing, but it's not enough to win a round. I can't give Madrimov a round just because he landed 2 right hands that made the crowd go ooh, make the people watching at home go ooh, while in the same round, Terence Crawford worked the body, worked the inside better, and threw combination punches. If you watch the fight, there isn't that many combination punches thrown by Madrimov. So how do you guys score boxing? I want to know. I want to know how you guys score boxing. Salute to Bruce Gass in the building. Please don't tell me to be honest and unbiased. If you don't like what I'm talking about, you can get off my page, Mr. Joe Herdez or whoever you are. I never seen you before. If you don't like my channel, get off my page. If you know who I am, you would know that I'm not a biased person. I keep it down the middle. So please don't come on my page with nonsense. We don't do that here. Okay? We don't do no let's be unbiased, okay? It's not my fault that you spend half your time on YouTube watching stupid channels. You're not going to get that from here. You're going to get pure honesty from my page. All right? So don't miss me with that. All right? We don't do that here. Crawford, okay, the thing about Crawford is there's high expectations for Crawford, right? It was a group of people upset that he beat Errol Spence the way he did. And then also there's the European boxing fanboy group who is upset that a lot of people have Crawford on their pound for pound list above Usyk. Okay, me personally, I have Usyk above Crawford. Why? Because in my opinion, Usyk is fighting better opponents and is more active. Okay, I have Inouye above Crawford. Why? Because they're more active. I have Canelo above Crawford. Why? Because he's more active. Now, in the same breath, the reason why Crawford is only fighting once a year is because he's 36 years old. When you get a certain age, you have to preserve your body. I can't do the things that I used to do back when I used to be training, back when I used to do my workouts, back when I used to box. I can't do that like I used to do. I can't hit the heavy bag 3-minute rounds, 5 or 6 rounds. Jump rope, 3-minute rounds, 5 or 6 rounds. Shadow box. I probably can shadow box maybe 4 rounds, 3-minute rounds. I probably could do that. But I'd have to train myself to even get back into that type of stuff. But I am in shape. Don't get it twisted. I am in shape. Now, you have to preserve yourself. So Crawford is fighting once a year. That's number one. Number two, he's 36 years old. You're not the same at 36 years old. You're not fast like you used to be. Your knees aren't the same. Your foot speed isn't the same. Your hand speed isn't the same. Your timing isn't the same. As you get older, especially in the sport of boxing, you start to decline. That's why in this generation, fighters preserve themselves. They only fight once or twice a year when they get a certain age. Look at Tank Davis. Tank Davis is 29 years old. He's only fighting once this year. You understand? So these guys aren't as busy as they used to be like they was back in the days. So a person, yes, could continue fighting well past 35 years old, but they're still not the same fighter. That's number one. That's number two. Number three, this is Crawford's first time at 54. This is his first time at 54, and he's fighting a world champion. He didn't go up there to take a tune-up. He didn't go up there to fight a contender or to take an easy route. He went up there and he fought a world champion. Now, even though he has 10 fights, he has a decorated amateur record. I know a lot of people would like to, downgrade the amateurs. Listen, in the amateurs, you fight many different styles, sometimes more styles than you will fight in the professionals because you're fighting more. It's less rounds, but you're fighting more. You're fighting more. So you'll see more in the amateurs than you will in the professionals. So sometimes some fighters are prepared and ready for certain levels, like Lomachenko was like that, right? And there's a lot of other professionals that could have gone there, but promoters move fighters a certain way, and that's fine. That's fine too. Some fighters don't have an amateur background, so they do a lot of fine-tuning as a professional, with easy touch-ups and slowly progressing and fighting better nobodies as they can continue, as you progress, right? So you can get better. Like Cesar Chavez was like that. Canelo was like that, okay? So Madrimov is a world champion. So Crawford moves up and fights a world champion. That is a big feat. That is something to talk about in the history books when he retires. You understand? It's like, okay, Usyk moved up to heavyweight and fought Chisora. Chisora's a tough guy. He's a competitive guy. Chisora is the gatekeeper, right? He's the journeyman, all right? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with Usyk moving up. I always stated if he moves up to heavyweight, he should fight Chisora because Chisora will be that test whether or not he could fight at heavyweight, right? Crawford didn't do that. He didn't go to 54 and fight. He didn't go to 54 and fought Lubin, Erickson Lubin, which I think would have been a good fight. He didn't fight Lubin. He went and fought a world champion, who a lot of people, I guess, apparently it was ducking. I don't know, but I didn't hear of Madrimov until he was on the undercard of the Anthony Joshua Ngannou fight. So, and I watched that fight and I saw some things. I saw some good things and I saw some bad things. And a lot of the bad things that I saw, like reaching, like overcommitting with his right hand, and sometimes his right leg falling forward in front of his left leg, and him sometimes looking down and throwing a looping right. I feel like he worked on that stuff because you didn't really see it that much in the Crawford fight. And I'm sure they was anticipating these mistakes. Now, he did make some mistakes, which is why there was a lot of combinations going on. I mean, you saw he was able to land 2 uppercuts in a row, which you don't see that often in boxing, right? So he went up and he fights a world champion, okay? Not only that, Madrimov is unorthodox. He's naturally bigger. He might be physically stronger, possibly, right? But he is the naturally bigger man. Bigger back. You saw it. Bigger legs, bigger back, wider, broader shoulders. He's the bigger man. Okay? Crawford has longer arms, so that's why he's trying to find his range, but at the same time, with the herky-jerky feinting, you kind of throw him off. But Crawford isn't a range fighter like Floyd. So you have all these things to take in consideration to why this fight was competitive. And again, I'm not taking nothing away from Madrimov. I think it was a good fight, and I think it was to me, a 7-5 win is a close fight. In my opinion, 8-4 is a close fight. 8-4 is debatable. 7-5, 7-5, whatever. 8-4. 8-4 could be a competitive fight too, depending on how those rounds was won. But if you dominate, see, that's what I'm saying. The scoring is. But if you dominated 7 rounds, and let's say 3 of 5 rounds that you lost were competitive rounds, that's a competitive fight. And in my opinion, Crawford won 7-5, but it wasn't a total domination type fight. This fight to me was super competitive. And I do believe that Madrimov will be a problem for a lot of other 54 fighters. I just still question, did we as boxing fans and boxing analysts out there overrate his power? Does he have enough power to knock out Lubin or knock out Tim Tszyu or knock out Virgil Ortiz? He did stun. He clipped Crawford with some pretty good shots. And they stunned Crawford, but I don't remember seeing Crawford actually hurt. Like where he's stuck, like he doesn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Because in the championship rounds, in my opinion, he took it to Madrimov, but at the same time still looking out for the right hand because the right hand is strong. You don't have to be a big power puncher, but if you're physically strong and you have heavy hands and you have, that brute strength, those punches are going to have some real serious heat to it. Let me get into these comments. Usyk beating bigger fighters is what you typed. Oh, okay, we got something going on. What you talking about, dude? You can't read. So here we have Joe Herdez, who sounds like a fanboy. I don't know what's going on with him. Crawford will not win against Canelo because Canelo is a bigger, stronger man. So with the Canelo situation, I always stated that it's a stupid fight, okay? It's a stupid fight. I never entertained this fight. I always thought it was dumb. Why? First of all, if Canelo's not going to go to a catch weight, because that would be stupid, okay? Number two, we saw how Crawford looked at 54, okay? He looked great, but that's 54. That's not even 160. Imagine going up to 168 against a pound-for-pound, seasoned, undisputed champion, thick neck, very powerful, good timing, good body shots, good head movement, Canelo. Guys, I'm a Crawford fan. I like Crawford. I like Canelo. Guys, he can't beat Canelo, okay? He can't beat Canelo. Please, we should have been stopped this. Canelo isn't Earl Spence, you guys. He's not an alcoholic. He's not driving drunk like a fool, like an idiot. Canelo is in the gym. He's training and he's ready to fight. He can't beat Canelo. Let's please stop the madness. Of course, if they fight, yeah, we'll watch it. But it's a money grab. Canelo is Mayweather. He's the lottery ticket. Canelo is Manny Pacquiao. He's the lottery ticket, guys. Why you think Benavidez want to fight him? Why you think Berlinga, for real? Why you think he's so happy? It's a lottery ticket, y'all, without having to scratch some tickets. Champ Ross, salute. That's what I'm talking about. Champ Ross in the building. Hold on, man. Let me holler at my boy Champ Ross. Let's see here. Boom. Add as a moderator. Boom. There it is. Champ Ross got his wrench all day. Robbery. Is this a troll title? I had it a draw. But if anyone had to win, I'd go with Bud. Bud proved that he can go past 54. Bud proved that he can go past 54. He is his weight limit cap. Nello would walk through Bud. Tony's review, salute. It's not a troll title. It's just to get people's attention. No, Crawford cannot go past 54. He can't. Listen, guys, he started out at 35. He's not Roberto Duran. He's not Sugar Ray Leonard. These fighters today aren't the fighters of the past. Okay? They're not. If Crawford fights Canelo, Canelo is going to beat Crawford. He will. I'm sorry. He's going to beat him. Crawford doesn't have enough power. Listen, Crawford couldn't back Madrimov off. If you put Madrimov right now against Canelo, let's say Canelo who fought Austin Trout at 54, or Canelo that fought Angulo at 54. I'll tell you right now, Canelo will run through Madrimov. He cannot beat Canelo. Please stop with the nonsense, man. We got to stop that, man. Valentine said Crawford will not win. Let's see, go through some of these comments. Champ Charles D called somebody a dummy. Crawford fighting smaller guys than him. So fighters fighting smaller guys than him. Well, when he moved up to 47, so when he was at 135, he was the bigger man more than everybody. But Crawford's not a natural 35. He's one of those fighters who grew into his natural weight class, which is my opinion, would be 47. 47 would be his natural weight class, especially with his frame. He's slim. He has a natural high metabolism. 47 would be his cap. I don't think he was smaller than Horn. He had longer arms than Horn. He wasn't smaller than Horn. He wasn't, I mean, bigger than Horn. He wasn't bigger than Amir Khan. Amir Khan obviously was past his prime, but he wasn't bigger than Amir Khan. He wasn't bigger than Kell Brook. Okay, again, Kell Brook was damaged goods. I think if that fight, I think Kell Brook would have beat Spence if he didn't fight Triple G, and I think it would have been a way more competitive fight for Crawford if Brook didn't have the damaged eyes. That would have been a very competitive fight. I would have edged Crawford, but it would have been a very competitive fight. So he wasn't bigger than Brook. He certainly wasn't bigger than Spence. Actually, Spence is bigger than him, right? Crawford has longer arms. He also wasn't bigger than Madrimov, but he does have longer arms. So, and he wasn't bigger than Victor Postol when he fought at 140. So this whole, he's bigger than I'm trying to think of some of the guys he fought. Well, he was bigger than some of the guys he fought at 35. I think he was bigger than Ndongo at 140. I think, did he fight Beltran? I can't remember. But anyway, so no, he wasn't bigger than everybody. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. But to say that, oh, Crawford struggled and he looked vulnerable. Look, the guy's 36 years old. The guy is 36 years old. In my opinion, the fight wasn't a robbery. Was the fight close? That's debatable, depending on how you score fights. But I don't think it was a draw, and I think there was a winner, a legitimate winner. And I think that winner was Crawford. Do I think Crawford could beat Virgil Ortiz? Do I think he could beat Fondora or a Tim Tszyu? I don't know. He's 36 years old, you guys. He's 36 years old. You know, Tim Tszyu was in his prime. He's younger. He's stronger. He's naturally bigger. We don't know how much that fight with Fondora affect him. We got to see what Fondora is going to look like versus Spence. We got to see what Virgil Ortiz is going to look like in his next fight. I don't know what Crawford is going to look like at 54 in another fight, because he's not going to fight again this year. He's going to take another year off, you guys. Maybe 10 months, but it's definitely going to be close to a year. And that's going to be more wear and tear added on to his body. Okay, more weight that he's going to gain when he's not boxing. He's 36 years old. He may have a high metabolism, but for boxing, it's not. The high metabolism doesn't mean that much in terms of compared to just the average person, right? I have a high metabolism, right? But if I tried to go down all the way down to 132 pounds, like I used to weigh, it wouldn't happen. And I don't, and that's way, Crawford's walk around weight got to be about 165, 170, right? And, possibly more, 175. I don't know, he's 5'9", right? You've seen him when he's not boxing. He got a little pudgy gut sticking out when he's not boxing. So trying to get down to 154, I'm sure it's not that hard, but it's still a lot of wear and tear on you trying to train. It's still a lot of wear and tear on you trying to get to 154. Listen, the only reason why Crawford moved up to 154, guys, and I'm going to tell you right now, he can't make 47 anymore. Spence can't make 47 anymore. It is what it is. These guys are in their 30s. They're in their 30s. So I don't know what to say. In my opinion, this fight wasn't a robbery. Hats off to Madrimov. He's a good fighter. I think he could still potentially become a world champion again down the line. But give props where props is due. If you got Crawford in your pound for pound list as number one, I wouldn't even argue with you. If you got Crawford as one of the best ever, I'm not even going to argue with you. Because it's all subjective. That's your opinion. And I have my opinion. All right. So this is the MOBC. Salute everybody for jumping on. And please like, share, and subscribe.